In a dramatic moment that shook Parliament just moments ago, Nigel Farage stood up and delivered a message that no politician dared to speak. With fierce clarity and unyielding resolve, Farage demanded an immediate general election, declaring that the current government has lost all legitimacy. This isn't just another political speech, it's a call for revolution, a rallying cry from the voice of the people who are fed up, betrayed, and ready for change. What happened in Parliament today marks the beginning of a seismic shift in British politics, and you need to hear every word. Nigel Farage didn't hold back. With the nation watching, he stood tall in Parliament and spoke with the authority and fire that millions of Britons feel but no one else in power dares to say. The government is finished. Starmer's Labour, once seen as a beacon of hope, has revealed itself as weak, disconnected and unfit to govern. The Tory party, once dominant, is crumbling under its own corruption and failure. Farage made it clear, the people have had enough, and it's time for a general election, immediately. No delays, no excuses. The country cannot afford to wait any longer. This moment is historic. The polls confirm it. For the first time ever, Reform UK is leading every major national survey, with a commanding lead over both Labour and the Tories. Reform is sitting comfortably at 30%, while Labour flounders at 22%, and the Conservatives are sinking fast at just 21%. This is not a minor shift. It's a political earthquake that has left the establishment scrambling for answers. The so-called Big Two are dying relics, their days numbered. Reform UK is not only a rising force, it is the new voice of Britain's future. Farage's demand for an immediate election isn't just political theatre. It's a response to real, urgent crises facing the nation. Crime is soaring. Borders are collapsing. The justice system is failing victims while offering leniency to offenders. Energy bills are rising uncontrollably. Everyday people are struggling to keep warm, put food on the table and keep their families safe. And at the heart of it all is a government that is either unwilling or unable to take decisive action. Farage's fiery speech today was a spotlight on this failure, a direct challenge to the complacency and corruption that have gripped Westminster for far too long. Behind this confrontation lies a shocking betrayal that has enraged the public, the Chagos Islands deal. Keir Starmer quietly signed away British territory to Mauritius in a secret agreement that many are calling an act of national humiliation. Instead of standing firm to protect British sovereignty, Starmer chose surrender. This deal has been defended by left-wing commentators as progress or decolonisation, but in reality, it is a reckless abandonment of British interests. Billions of pounds of taxpayers' money have vanished, and our military presence in the strategically vital Indian Ocean is now seriously compromised. This isn't leadership, it's weakness masked by political spin. Farage didn't just criticise, he called for action. He demanded that Starmer face the public and answer for this betrayal. This is the moment when the silence broke, when Parliament heard the voice of the people roar. After years of political compromises and backroom deals, the people's voice is rising louder than ever, and Nigel Farage is leading that charge. His demand for an immediate election is a demand for accountability, for a chance to reset the country's course before it slips any further into chaos. Nigel Farage's bold demand for an immediate general election reverberates far beyond the walls of Parliament. It captures the simmering frustration that has been boiling over across Britain for years. The British people are no longer willing to accept hollow promises or empty rhetoric from politicians who seem more interested in maintaining power than serving the nation. The political landscape has shifted dramatically, and Farage's Reform UK has become the vessel for a widespread desire for real change. This is not merely about party politics, it is about reclaiming control from a system that has failed the public at every turn. The poll numbers paint a grim picture for Labour and the Conservatives, but a hopeful one for Reform UK and those seeking genuine reform. Reform UK's rise reflects a mass exodus of voters from both traditional parties, as well as a wave of former non-voters energised to finally have their voices heard. Approximately 20% of Reform's new supporters come from disillusioned Labour voters, while another 20% are former Conservative supporters. Even more striking is the surge of previously disengaged citizens now inspired to participate. This coalition of the betrayed and the hopeful marks a turning point in British politics. At the core of this political upheaval is a deep dissatisfaction with how current leaders handle the country's most urgent crises. Crime rates have surged, and with it, the public's trust in the criminal justice system has plummeted. Many Britons believe the system protects criminals while ignoring victims, a sentiment echoed by 2/3 of voters who say major reform is necessary. Farage pointed to this crisis in Parliament, highlighting Labour's failure to reverse the damage inherited from the Tories. Under Starmer's leadership, the justice system has only worsened, with violent offenders released early and communities left vulnerable. The idea that criminals receive compassion while victims are neglected fuels anger and demands for change. The economic situation further compounds public frustration. Energy bills continue to climb, forcing many families to choose between heating their homes and other essentials. Government relief programs feel inadequate or non-existent to those struggling most. Winter fuel payments have been cut, taxes have increased, and promises of future aid ring hollow. Farage seized on this failure, painting a stark contrast between the reality faced by ordinary citizens and the detachment of the Labour government. Instead of solutions, Starmer's administration offers lectures and excuses, deepening the divide between rulers and the ruled. Perhaps the most incendiary issue driving Farage's call for immediate elections is the controversial Chagos Islands deal. This secretive agreement, made without public consultation or parliamentary debate, handed over British territory to Mauritius. Farage condemned this as the ultimate betrayal of national sovereignty and pride. Critics from all sides, including former Tory ministers, have labelled it one of the most humiliating moments for Britain since the Suez Crisis. The deal not only compromises Britain's military strategic position in the Indian Ocean, but also symbolises the loss of control over its own destiny. Farage's fiery denunciation exposes the deal as less about diplomacy and more about political virtue signalling an appeasement to global elites. This scandal has further fuelled distrust toward Starmer's government and intensified the demand for accountability. While Starmer and his allies frame the decision as progress and decolonisation, many see it as a reckless surrender. The British public is angry and feels abandoned by those entrusted to protect their interests. Farage's speech laid bare this divide, accusing the government of cozying up to unelected international bodies while ignoring the will and welfare of the British people. This moment in Parliament wasn't just a political clash, it was a defining confrontation over the future of the nation. Reform UK's rise is not just about opposition, it is a movement rooted in reclaiming sovereignty, restoring justice, and rebuilding an economy that works for everyone. Farage's call for an immediate election is a demand for the people to have their say before the damage becomes irreversible. The message is clear. The British people want change now, and they are rallying behind a party and a leader willing to stand up and fight for their rights. This political upheaval threatens the old order and promises a new chapter in Britain's story, one defined by defiance, resilience, and the unyielding desire for national revival. The growing momentum behind Nigel Farage and Reform UK is rooted in a deep and widespread disenchantment with the political establishment. For decades, both Labour and the Conservative parties have dominated the political arena, often switching power back and forth without delivering meaningful results. This political duopoly has left many voters feeling abandoned and ignored, trapped in a system that prioritises party loyalty and insider deals over the real needs of ordinary Britons. Farage's demand for an immediate general election is more than a political challenge. It is a direct response to this disillusionment. AIT call to disrupt the status quo and offer a fresh alternative to a frustrated nation. Central to the appeal of Reform UK is its uncompromising stance on key issues that have long been avoided or mishandled by mainstream parties. Farage has tapped into the public's anger over soaring crime rates, border control failures, and a justice system that many perceive as broken. The narrative Farage presents is simple yet powerful. The current government, led by Keir Starmer, has failed to protect its citizens or uphold law and order. This failure has not gone unnoticed. Polling data shows that 2/3 of voters believe the justice system needs major reform, with over 60% holding Labour responsible for worsening the problem, despite the Tories having created many of the conditions. Farage's rhetoric doesn't just highlight failures, it resonates deeply with the lived experiences of many Britons who feel increasingly unsafe and unheard. Economic hardship further fuels this groundswell of support. Britons face some of the highest energy bills in Europe, with many forced to make impossible choices between heating their homes and other essentials. Government programmes intended to alleviate these pressures are often seen as insufficient, leaving many families in crisis. Farage's critique of Labour's economic policies strikes a chord because it reflects the frustration and despair felt by many. Instead of real relief, the government offers complex policies that fail to translate into meaningful help on the ground. The cut to winter fuel payments and rising taxes only deepen the sense of betrayal felt by the public. Farage positions Reform UK as the voice of those who refuse to accept this status quo, promising to fight for practical solutions that prioritise British families over bureaucrats and international elites. The Chagos Islands controversy stands as a glaring example of the government's disconnect from public sentiment and national interest. The secretive nature of the deal, which handed over a vital British territory to Mauritius without public consultation, has shocked and outraged citizens across the political spectrum. Farage's vocal opposition to the agreement underscores a broader theme of lost sovereignty and national pride. This is not just a territorial dispute, it symbolises a broader erosion of British power and influence on the global stage. Former Tory Minister Simon Clarke's comparison of the deal to the humiliating Suez crisis echoes a collective sense of national embarrassment and betrayal. Farage's framing of the deal as a surrender, rather than progress, captures the mood of many Britons who see their country's interests sacrificed for political expediency and globalist approval. In Parliament, Farage's speech was a rare moment of unfiltered truth. He refused to mince words or soften his critique, delivering a blistering indictment of Starmer's leadership. Farage accused the Prime Minister of prioritising international approval over British interests, of acting as a globalist lapdog rather than a strong national leader. This sharp contrast between Farage's directness and the perceived weakness of the current government has energised his supporters and unsettled the political establishment. Farage's call for immediate elections is not just about seizing power, it is about restoring accountability and giving the British people a real choice. It is a challenge to a government that, in his view, has lost its mandate and legitimacy. Reform UK's surge is also fuelled by the emergence of a new political coalition made up of diverse groups unified by shared frustration and hope. Disillusioned. Labour voters, betrayed Conservatives and previously disengaged citizens have all found a home in Reform UK's vision. This coalition represents a profound shift in the British electorate, breaking down old partisan loyalties and emphasising a shared desire for change. Farage's leadership style, bold, unapologetic, and focused on tangible issues, has helped galvanise this movement. His ability to articulate the anger and aspirations of this growing base has turned Reform UK from a fringe party into a formidable political force ready to challenge the establishment. The urgency behind Farage's demand for an immediate election is heightened by the accelerating crises facing Britain. Crime rates continue to climb, the economy remains fragile, and national sovereignty is under threat. This combination creates a volatile political environment where the public's patience is wearing thin. Farage's message is a clarion call to action, urging voters not to wait, but to seize this moment to reshape the future of the country. The stakes are high, and the outcome of this political showdown will shape Britain's trajectory for years to come. Farage's defiant stance and Reform UK's rising popularity signal a historic shift that could upend decades of political dominance by Labour and the Conservatives. As the political landscape trembles under the weight of Nigel Farage's bold demand for an immediate general election, the implications stretch far beyond mere headlines. This moment signals a profound crisis within British politics, a reckoning born from years of public frustration, broken promises, and leadership failures. The momentum behind Reform UK is more than a fleeting surge. It is the embodiment of a nationwide call for accountability and renewal. Voters who once felt voiceless are now rallying behind a movement that promises to break the chains of establishment politics. This is a political awakening, fueled by a deep desire for sovereignty, security and common-sense governance that prioritises the people over globalist agendas. The seismic shift in public opinion is reflected in the poll numbers, where Reform UK stands as the new frontrunner, outpacing both Labour and the Conservatives. This historic development underscores the collapse of the traditional two-party dominance that has defined British politics for decades. The Labour Party's faltering popularity is tied directly to its perceived failures on multiple fronts: economic hardship, law and order, and national sovereignty. Similarly, the Conservative Party's reputation is battered by years of scandals, infighting, and an inability to offer credible alternatives. In this vacuum, Reform UK has emerged as a beacon for those disillusioned with the old ways, promising a politics that is direct, uncompromising, and fiercely protective of British interests. Farage's uncompromising stance on the Chagos Islands deal exemplifies the party's broader rejection of political expediency in favour of patriotic principle. This issue, which has ignited public outrage across the country, serves as a potent symbol of the government's detachment from its people. The secretive handover of British territory to Mauritius is not just a diplomatic misstep. It is seen by many as a profound betrayal of national pride and sovereignty. Farage's framing of this deal as an act of surrender, rather than progress, resonates with a public increasingly wary of globalist influence and eager to reclaim control over their country's future. His vocal condemnation in Parliament acts as a rallying cry for those who demand transparency, respect, and a renewed commitment to Britain's standing on the world stage. Coalition of voters from all walks of life and political backgrounds. This coalition includes former Labour supporters who feel abandoned by their party's leadership, disenchanted Conservatives seeking a stronger voice for national security and economic stability, and a significant number of previously apathetic citizens who have become politically engaged for the first time. This broad-based movement defies traditional political boundaries, united by shared frustrations and a common vision of restoring Britain's strength and independence. Farage's leadership, characterised by his willingness to speak uncomfortable truths and confront entrenched powers, has been instrumental in galvanizing this diverse and energised voter base. Behind the scenes, the demand for an immediate election is shaking the corridors of power. Labour and Conservative leaders alike recognise the threat posed by Reform UK's rapid rise. Starmer's government is under intense pressure to justify its record and defend its legitimacy in the face of mounting criticism. The Chagos Islands. Controversy has become a focal point of this pressure, exposing vulnerabilities and igniting fierce debates about Britain's future role in global affairs. As public confidence in traditional parties erodes, the urgency of Farage's call grows clearer. A general election is necessary to restore democratic legitimacy and allow the people to decide the direction of the nation. The stakes could not be higher. Britain stands at a crossroads where the choice is between continuing down a path marked by decline and disillusionment, or embracing a new political chapter defined by renewal and assertiveness. Reform UK's rise challenges the political establishment to reckon with its failures and listen to the voices of millions demanding change. Farage's demand for an immediate election is not simply a political manoeuvre. It is a manifestation of the public's urgent need for leadership that is strong, honest, and truly representative. This political upheaval is reshaping the future of the United Kingdom. With each passing day, the possibility of an election draws nearer, promising a showdown that could redefine British politics for a generation. Farage's Reform UK offers more than just opposition. It presents a vision of a Britain that takes control of its destiny, restores its sovereignty, and rebuilds trust between government and governed. For those tired of the same old politics, this moment represents hope and opportunity. The coming weeks and months will be crucial. As voters digest the surge in support for Reform UK also reflects a growing Implications of Farage's call and the revelations surrounding government decisions, political debates will intensify, alliances will shift, and the balance of power could be irrevocably altered. What remains clear is that the political establishment can no longer ignore the rising tide of Reform UK support. The public's demand for change is loud, clear, and growing stronger every day. In this charged atmosphere, the role of informed and engaged citizens becomes paramount. Staying aware, asking tough questions, and participating in the democratic process will be vital in shaping Britain's future. Farage's demand for an immediate general election has opened the door for a new era of political accountability and public involvement. It is now up to the people to step through that door and decide the fate of their country. This moment is historic. The political game has changed, and the old rules no longer apply. Nigel Farage's stand in Parliament has ignited a fire that is spreading across the nation. Whether this leads to an immediate election or further political upheaval, one thing is certain. Britain is witnessing a pivotal moment that will echo through its history for years to come. If you want to stay ahead of the story and hear the truth others won't tell you, make sure to subscribe to Britain Nexus. Like this video, share it with everyone you know, and drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your voice matters, join the movement, and help shape Britain's future today.